We're going to go next to the Indiana Pacers versus the Milwaukee Bucks. I'll just let you go. I feel like I talked a lot during these last two. What is the thing you're most looking forward to in this series?
I want to see if Milwaukee can run with the Pacers. Like, I want to see if they can keep up with the pace that Indiana is going to play at. I feel like we're getting close to Tyrese Halliburton, like what we saw the beginning of last season. I have a feeling we'll at least discuss Tyrese Halliburton on Tuesday. Whether he ends up somewhere or not, he will be in the conversation of ending up somewhere or not. I like Pascal Siakam. I like Andrew Nembhard. Aaron Nesmith has been playing really well. Miles Turner. Like, I think it'll be really interesting. Here's what it comes down to. Like, Giannis will be the best player in the series, Sam. I have very little questions about that. I think he has to be unquestioned. Like, it has to be unreal version of Giannis. And the scary thing for the Pacers is we have seen unreal Giannis this year, and he has been incredible. And so I'm fascinated to see how they try to guard him and what they do with him. And then I always say this with the Bucks. Can the other guys make shots? Can Kyle Kuzma make threes? I think Bobby Portis being back is huge for them, potentially winning this series. Can Gary Trent Jr. make threes? Does Taurean Prince continue to be one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA? Does Ryan Rollins, who shout out Ryan Rollins for stepping into Damian Lillard's shoes and like being solid, shooting over 40% from three? Like, can those guys make shots? Because I assume Indiana is going to throw everybody they have at Giannis and then make others beat them.
I think that's probably right. And they have the bodies to be able to throw at Giannis. Like, Naismith is like strong and physical. Pascal Siakam is long and, athletic. Obviously, Miles Turner can be like a help defender that rotates over. They just have the kind of bodies to throw at them that will make life a little bit more difficult, in my opinion. The one thing that's like worth noting here is I think people are surprised that Indiana is in this position based off of the way they started the season. Indiana's 49-32, by the way. They've been so good over the course of like the last 2/3 of the year. It's not just like a half season. It's more than that. They've been unbelievable recently. There are currently, if I remember correctly here, I'm going to pull up the number. There are, let's see here, 7 teams in the league to have a winning record against the top 10 teams in the league by net rating, according to Cleaning the Glass. And the Pacers aren't just like one of them. They are like very clearly one of them. They are 15-9 in those games against top 10 teams in the league. They've been terrific this year against the elite competition. And Milwaukee is 5-19 in those games against top 10 competition. To me, this is the Pacers like all the way. The Pacers have just played so well recently. I just don't know. I don't know what the Bucks do to counter Milwaukee's pace. I don't know what they do to stop them defensively. It just feels, this feels like a matchup that is very difficult for the Milwaukee Bucks. And oh, by the way, like, this is before we get to the coaching mismatch that is Doc Rivers against Rick Carlisle.
Yeah. And we're both assuming that, Damian Lillard will not play in this series, right? Like that's kind of how I'm approaching things. We don't know what's going to happen. I realize there's been some reports that maybe push positive. Again, whenever it's something like blood clots, like all I hope is, 1, glad they found it, and 2, hope that Dame is okay and healthy and all of that. But Milwaukee's chance is getting crazy hot from 3. They are second in the NBA in 3-point percentage this year. So like if they're able to knock down shots, but Giannis just has to have like an unreal series for that to happen. He has been good against Indiana this year, but I'm with you. I think I would probably pick Indiana if I had to, but I'm not going to not give Giannis, a puncher's chance.
Yeah, I do get that on some level. And I think that that's probably the way to do it. I think that's definitely the way to do it, to be honest. But, and look, like Milwaukee has won like 7 or 8 games in a row to close the season here. Like they've been hot. It's just that those wins came against like a Pistons team today, in overtime, where they didn't play. Obviously Cade didn't play in this game, and Asar, I believe, didn't play in this game. And
two against the Pelicans, one against the Suns, one against the Sixers. They did beat the Heat. They did beat Minnesota.
But like the Heat are, I think, like 14-25 in their last 39 or something like that. Like, and Phoenix has been a catastrophe lately. It's just hard. It's hard.
And to your point, the 3 games before that, they lost by 20 to the Hawks, 9 to the Knicks, 10 to the Nuggets.
Yeah. And, look, like they did beat like a full strength Timberwolves team, right? So we can't ignore that. In that game, what you saw was, basically they played like the 3, 4, 5 Kuzma, Giannis, and Brook lineups. And, they did feel like they could kind of overpower another team that plays big, because Giannis, ends up with like a triple double in that game and plays super well. But the thing that worries me about this series specifically for Milwaukee is that defensively, it just feels like they've never totally gotten it together this year in terms of the communication stuff. Like they still will just like randomly blow like ice coverages in terms of like Brook Lopez will be yelling out like ice, ice, ice. And then like somebody like Taurean Prince or somebody will let the guy get middle. And Brook's just like, well, like I'm not fast enough to recover. That's not the way that this works, right? Like I can't do this. So even just like little breakdowns like that against a Pacers team, like the thing that the Pacers do is they make you make quick decisions. That's what they're always going to do. They're going to play up and down. And Tyrese Halliburton is one of the best decision makers in the league. And he's surrounded by guys that are drilled so quickly to just make the rapid decision to get the ball across the court. That's what worries me in this series for Milwaukee, are just like the little breakdowns. And look, Kuzma's been a fucking nightmare for Milwaukee. Like we can just call that out as it is too. Like it is what it is at this point. It's a deal that just did not work out for them to this point, at least. He's playing 32 minutes, averaging 14 points, shooting 45, 31, 66. He has a negative assist to turnover ratio. Like the defense is still, just kind of all over the map. It feels like a tough spot.
Yeah, and we've talked all season long, off season long, even ever since the Dame trade, was who was going to take primary defensive matchups. And Indiana has, Tyrese Halliburton for one, in terms of like who's going to guard that guy, and who's going to stay locked in and off the screens. And I know Tyrese isn't a huge like attack the basket guy, but he's obviously a guy that's found a rhythm here later in the season. So again, I'm with you. I would lean Indiana for sure. It's just, I know for me in the back of my head, I'm always going to go, but they have Giannis, for me, a top 3 player in the NBA this season. And they have guys that can shoot around him. And like Giannis and Brook together defensively maybe can hold. I just think Indiana's going to play too fast, Sam. Like straight up, like my natural reaction to this matchup is Indiana's going to be running around on both ends of the floor, and it's just going to eventually catch up with Milwaukee. Even against Giannis, just Indiana seems to have such active hands, and they're always running and scrambling and rotating and all of that. I just trust them to be able to do that. And I don't trust Milwaukee to be able to play at that pace both ways. If Milwaukee can slow the game down somehow and get Indiana out of that, then I would say they would have a better chance. Yeah.
So Kyle Kuzma has played 539 minutes with Giannis so far for the Bucks, and he's played 498 minutes without Giannis so far. In the minutes where Kuzma plays with Giannis, they're like a plus 2.9. Cool. In the minutes where Kuzma plays without Giannis, they are a -7. And in the minutes where Giannis plays without Kuzma, they are a plus 7.7.
Yeah.
When you move, Middleton for a guy like this, and you don't have Dame, where Middleton might have been able to make up for some of that perimeter creation. This feels really tough. And oh, by the way, like just the way that the Bucks have to play defensively with Brook, like the Pacers are well equipped to be able to pick and pop them against Brook. They're well equipped to be able to force all sorts of different problems with like ghost screens and quick little slide actions.
Well, Tyrese just dribble pull-ups, right? Like if Brook's going to drop, Tyrese, you get a good screen, Tyrese is just dribbling right into a three-pointer, let alone the pick and pop option for Turner or whoever. So
yeah, this to me is like, this might even be like Pacers in like 5 to me, honestly. I feel pretty good. It will take a truly like Herculean Giannis just going like out of this world effort, assuming that Lillard is not there. This does change for me if Lillard is there, but I just don't think they have the offensive firepower to keep up with the Indiana otherwise.